We're going to actually launch right now the B'nai B'rith live tourism from Israel. Gil Perez, who's a very seasoned guide, he's going to take us through the alleyways of the old city of Jerusalem to some of the most significant sites, historical and religious sites. You will see museums, you will see mosques, churches, synagogues, and really some of the most significant sites that this unique city has to offer.
The famous David Citadel, this name was given to this incredible museum, incredible palace, which was built in the time of King Herod 2,000 years ago. But when the Christian crusaders came to Jerusalem, they believed that this is the palace of King David, the first king of Jerusalem.
Bedouin bags?
This is Bedouin bag. This is an old local tradition. We call it batik.
Smooth.
Look at the beautiful pomegranate. Incredible fruit. Look at the fruit. Is it? This is the man. He is the specialist.
Hi, welcome.
Habib Albi. Church of Holy Sepulchre. This is the place where Jesus fell on his way to crucifixion. This church has been built over the rock named Golgotha, and the church was built over 300 years after this event. The place where his body was washed and his grave are inside the building. You can see our people praying. This is between Mincha and Ma'arif. Up on the Temple Mount is the Golden Dome, which is not a prayer spot. It's covering up the holy rock. But here to the right is the central mosque. The western wall is not for us a wailing wall.
The Temple Institute is not a museum. We don't have a lot of old things here. The Jewish people have been praying for the temple for 1,944 and a half years. And we want to say that not only did we pray and cry about the temple, we also did what we could in order to be ready for the event of the rebuilding of the temple whenever it happens. We do a lot of research, we do teaching, and we also replicate the tools and the vessels and the garments of the holy service. Learning about it and teaching about it is like building it. So I feel that every day I come to work, I'm building the Holy Temple.
Herzl wrote a book, The Jewish State, the vision of what should be the life of Jewish people. And he tells the Jewish people, we should have a homeland, a Jewish homeland. This is the only way to avoid such problems. We can be a minority anywhere in the world, but we have to be sure that in case of trouble, we have a place where we can go back to. A place which belongs to us. No one can take it from us. We are now preparing the ceremony for Israel independence. He is teaching them how to march. We came at the first week of that training. The commanding officers are carrying their own unit flag, and sergeants are marching in front. As you can see, the flags are still tied up, and you can see the kids are training as soldiers. This is Israel. We are now heading towards the memorial for Ethiopian Jewry. Some of the Jews coming from Ethiopia, very interesting country, which was 3,000 years ago led by a king. His name was Melanic I. He was, as they say, the son of King Solomon. King Solomon, the son of King David, founder of Jerusalem. He was the son of the Queen of Sheba. King Solomon married this gorgeous princess. from Eastern Africa. And she came back to Africa and turned her country into the first Jewish kingdom outside the land of Israel. Hundreds of members of the community perished and were buried along the way, and many others are missing to these days. The people of Israel remember the heroes of the journey, the many and the good who gave their life in the yearning for Jerusalem and the love of Zion. We are now moving to the National War Cemetery of Mount Herzl. The state of Israel visioned by Herzl could not exist if the people living in Israel are not ready to defend it. And we will light a candle. Some have to devote themselves to public leadership, to run this country. And these are the great leaders of Israel. Among them we can see here Teddy Kollek. He was the mayor of Jerusalem. And here is Mrs. Golda Meir. As you know her, she came to Israel from Milwaukee and she was a prominent leader. And here, the grave of the late Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, the commander of Israeli army liberating Jerusalem 1948, elected Prime Minister 1991, and he signed the Oslo Agreement with Yasser Arafat.
Gil, here we are again. It's great to be with you on the third tour that we're taking.
Pleasure.
And here we can hear the bells ringing out here in Jerusalem exactly at 4 o'clock in Jerusalem.
The day came when the people of Israel decided that they would like to become like each and every nation in the world, meaning having a king. And we did not have a king. King Saul will be assassinated, but meanwhile he was the king, a young Jewish shepherd born in Bethlehem, felt terribly offended by this Philistine aggression on a daily basis, and he decided to fight this strong man, and he won. And the day he defeated Goliath, as we all remember, the people of Israel understood who is David. After Saul was killed, the king David was made king, and he moved from Bethlehem to Jerusalem. He was ruling a kingdom in Hebron, where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are buried. I invite you to come in. Please. We are now standing in a very important room where Jesus had his last supper. Jesus was a Jewish rabbi, and he will teach his understanding of the Bible. And from here, we can watch at the southern and eastern part of Jerusalem, and from there you can see the separation wall between Israel and the Palestinian state, Palestinian Authority. Here we can see the graves of Jews who decided all over the history to be buried here in Jerusalem, Mount of Olives, for the day, for the D-Day, the day Messiah will come, climbing down the hill on the slopes of Mount of Olives, and resurrection should happen. From this day, the people of Israel will know He is the Messiah. So we are now entering a Christian graveyard here on Mount Zion. I would like you to see this very interesting grave. Oskar Schindler, let me remind you. He was the man, a German Christian, who opened pots factory. Rather than using regular workers in a factory, he decided to employ Jewish people, and through this save them from Holocaust. And he was made after the war a righteous among the nation. He saved over 1,200 men. Each one is a world. We are here with some friend from America, learning about Mount Zion.
No, we're broadcasting to our members live here on the camera.
Really? Okay.
You know? And it's a pilot project to try to introduce people to Israel and get a sense, let them have a sense of what it means to be here live, just to meet people, buy some nuts on the corner here, and to get the sound and the smells of Israel.
So here is the Armenian graveyard, and this is the Greek Orthodox. This is the Independence Day of Greece right now. Archbishop Theophilus came to bless the Greek Consul of Jerusalem. They will hold a blessing ceremony. Theophilus, Ma shlomcha?
How are you?
Long time. I'm so pleased to see you.
Where are you?
I'm in Jerusalem always. You became a famous person. We knew to travel long years ago together. And please, I will come to visit you to your place.
Yes.
We thank you for having joining us in the last 3 hours for this beautiful tour of Mount Zion.